And everyone, welcome to the Xperience. My name is Michael Lindenbaum, and we are brought to you by SpartaCon, which is August 15th and 16th at Blue Crab Stadium in Waldorf, Maryland. Come see stars from the show Spartacus like Manu Bennett, Dan Farrell, Liam McIntyre, and many others from the show, like the most recently announced Dustin Clare. For more information on SpartaCon, please visit redserpents.com. Now, I've taken the last 2 weeks off due to the holidays and then Caps Fan Fest and other things. And last weekend we also had San Diego ComicCon, which I will touch base on in a little bit. But I wanted to start talking about Caps Fan Fest because this episode I'm going to be doing a couple announcements on this show. All stuff that's going to be coming up in the near future. And so I wanted to start off with Caps Fan Fest. Obviously, anyone who knows me personally knows that I'm a huge hockey fan, definitely a big Caps fan. And so going to Fan Fest was a big deal to me. I actually picked up some stuff from the equipment sale. And I got to meet the newest Washington Capital, Te-Maioha, which was really cool. We joked around about my tattoos and had a couple laughs about that. And then, of course, afterwards, I actually got to play in a friend's birthday hockey game at Kettler Capital's Iceplex later that night, which, for those who know, I've been playing forever. In the game, I had 10 shots on goal, 7 of which were quality scoring chances. And not one went in the net. Not one. None of the tips, none of the breakaways, none of the actual shots from point-blank range. None of them. And as demoralizing as that can be, it was also just a game for somebody's birthday, so I still had fun with it. But, and if you want to ask me more about the game, feel free to ask me another time. I don't want to spend too much time on here talking about it. But going back to the Caps, as everyone knows, I have this podcast. I also do MBM Wrestling with Ben and Mansa. This show specifically, the Xperience, in October, is going to be split up into 2 different shows. It is going to be what you have now, the Xperience, where we talk about what's going on at conventions and, movies, comic books, cosplay, all that stuff. And in October, the second show will become the Xperience Capitals Talk. And the reason I want to do the Xperience Capitals Talk is because it wouldn't be me if I wasn't talking about hockey. And rather than having me talk about hockey on this podcast, which I would rather gear towards the conventions, the movies, the comic books, the cosplaying, and all that other stuff, I felt that it was a better idea to split the 2 in half and have one show for the nerd culture, as some put it, and one for my passion of hockey. And what I'm going to be doing on the Xperience Caps Talk is I'm going to be breaking down how the Caps are every week. But not only that, I'm not only going to be breaking down just the Capitals, I'm also going to be breaking down the rest of the league. I'm going to be looking at everything and talking about as much as the stuff as I can as possible. Because, yes, the Capitals are my favorite team. But I love hockey. And one thing I will be doing on the Caps Talk one is talking about, the business side of things, like, should there be a hockey team in Las Vegas, which my answer to that is no. The mess that's going on in Arizona, should they have a hockey team? No. Should Quebec have a team? Yes. So I'll be going over stuff like that, all-star stuff. And if I'm lucky, not only will this air on tour radio and on the X75 Productions YouTube page, but I'm also hoping that the Xperience Caps Talk will go on to Caps Radio 24/7, because it will be all hockey centric and it will be a good platform for the show to be on. But give it time, because only in time it will tell if it will make it that far. But the Experience Caps Talk will be a good one for me, and if you're a hockey fan like I am, give it a listen, because it'll be fun. And that one, I'll be starting to record that the first weekend of October, which I believe is October 3rd, and it will be fun. Now, I also mentioned earlier that San Diego Comic-Con was this past weekend, and I'd love to go to San Diego Comic-Con. I just don't see it ever happening unless the stars align, because of how big San Diego has gotten. And I remember last Saturday getting ready for the hockey game I was playing in, and I was sitting in my full gear watching that 3-minute long Star Wars behind the scenes video that they released at San Diego Comic-Con. And I have to say, that video was amazing. Just everything from having Mark Hamill talking about it, seeing how that they're filming the films the old school style with as little CG as possible, which I think is really cool. It looks really, really nice. And then of course we saw the trailer, bootleg trailer of Deadpool, which I really want to see Deadpool. I'm putting this right now. I don't go to movies. I don't see movies in the theater that much anymore. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, and Deadpool are both on that list to go see in theaters, as well as Batman vs. Superman, The Dawn of Justice, which that was another trailer that looked amazing. And obviously you can all go on the YouTube. It's all over the place on Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, all those social media forums, or you can just do YouTube because it's the easier one, and you can watch them on there now, and it's really, really good. And what's coming up in the next few months to year in regards to movies, we're getting a lot of good stuff with Star Wars, Batman, Superman, Deadpool. Obviously we had Ant-Man come out this weekend, so it's an exciting time for movies. And the convention circuit, it's not slowing down, because you got a lot of other conventions coming up soon. You got Otakon coming up, you got New York Comic Con, Baltimore Comic Con, SpartaCon's obviously next month, which I'll be talking about SpartaCon a little bit more later. You got Anime USA. You have just so many conventions that are going on this summer into this fall that it's a really exciting time. And speaking of those other conventions, things that others, if you know me personally or you've heard of me for other things, I have a film that I wrote, produced, and acted in called Cosplay Life. And I got to talk a bit about Cosplay Life on the last episode of Joe Carabio, and I'm actually happy to announce this, but the last weekend of this month, up in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, at Unplugged Expo, Cosplay Life will be making its international debut. Now, if you asked me this time last year if I ever thought that Cosplay Life would make it to the international stage, I would say I don't know, because at the time we were still editing the film and we were having our doubts about certain things with the film, because we weren't able to film scenes that we wanted to have for the film. And I've already have come out and said this straight up, because I remember at Anime USA last year when we debuted the film, somebody asked me if I was going to make a sequel to Cosplay Life. The answer to that is, at this time, no, because I want to remake the film. But the fact that this this first time movie, this movie that for the very first time I've ever written a script, ever produced a film, first time I've been the lead actor in a film, the fact that it's got the running legs on it that it has now is very impressive, because we've screened at Anime USA, we screened at DerpyCon, we're coming back to DerpyCon this year in December. We have screened at Pensacon, we have screened at Florida SuperCon, we have screened at T-Mode. We're debuting later this month, at the end of this month, in Toronto at Unplugged Expo. We're working on currently with the potential of SpartaCon filming there, or screening there, potential of coming back to Anime USA this year. And we got a few conventions out west that we're interested in doing the screenings with, but we gotta wait for the right time to approach that and make sure that I can actually travel out to present them. So it's really cool how Cosplay Life, for a first-time film, has been able to be, in essence, as successful as it has on the convention circuit. And that makes me very happy. Most likely we'll never be put in any film festivals, but the fact that it's going to conventions and screening at the conventions and having people show up and getting an overall positive response, that alone makes me feel good about how Cosplay Life has been doing. And we've never sold a copy of the movie on DVD, but that was never really the point with this film. It was an idea that we wanted to do, but we knew it wasn't going to happen. And it's doing good, and I really hope that the people up in Toronto at Unplugged Expo, they enjoy Cosplay Life. It's something that I worked on for a year and a half, just for writing, doing the pre-production, post-production, casting, editing, filming. So I hope everyone up at Unplugged Expo in Toronto enjoys the film. And eventually, sometime next year, we are going to put it up on YouTube on the X75 Productions page, but at this time we're going to hold off on that. We're going to wait to see what we do next year with conventions, and then after we're done with those conventions, we'll let you guys know when it'll be up on YouTube for your all viewing pleasure. And of course, talking about fandoms and stuff like that, I get to talk about a little bit more about my sponsor, SpartaCon. I've been very, very mum about why they sponsor my podcast, because we're at the stage where we can actually talk about it. On August 15th and 16th at SpartaCon, I am officially announcing that I will be at SpartaCon as a panel host. I will be hosting 2 panels each day, along with podcasting at the convention, which you all hear up on the Xperience, and also with my good friends Patrick Michael Strange and everyone else at New Release Wednesday. We are coming together and we're going to be doing a bunch of podcasting together at SpartaCon. So there will be a lot of content from SpartaCon, either from the panels that I'm doing or from the podcasting that I'm doing, that you'll all be able to hear. And some of the panels that I will be hosting will be recorded and put up at a later time. And that I hope you guys really do enjoy. Now, in regards to the panels that I'm doing, I have, like I said, I have 4 panels overall, 2 for each day. And on the first day, the Saturday, I am doing, as I pull up the schedule, I am doing Celeb Panel number 1, Stage Combat with Stephen Dove Levy, who played the Egyptian, Ellen Hallman, who played Saxa, and Barry Duffield, who played Lugo. That panel is titled Stage Combat, And what we will be talking about is going behind the scenes and talking about all the action sequences of the TV show Spartacus and the type of training that they had to go through to get ready for their roles and for their scenes for the show. So we will be talking about that at that panel. Then my next panel that day is actually the cosplay panel with Patrick, Michael Strange, and the people of Cos Love. Pretty straightforward. We're going to be talking about cosplay. We'll be talking really just about cosplay, and I guess Patrick and them, they know more about what the panel is going to be about. So when I get Patrick, Michael Strange on here, which will happen beforehand, we will be talking more about that panel as we get closer. But it is a panel by Cos Love and Patrick, Michael Strange. I'm just going to be there hosting and kind of leading the way for them over there. Then on the Sunday, I will be doing a literature panel with author from Texas, Kristen Sikorsky. And we will be talking about her as an author, her book series, which is loosely based off of the show Spartacus. And we will be, talking about, the difference between writing literature and then obviously writing screenplays, because she's also writing screenplays currently as well now. And then, to end the convention panel-wise, I will be doing celebrity panel number 3, Blood and Sand, with Antonio Te-Maioha. And if I mispronounced your name, I'm sorry. I will learn your name properly. Come to the panel. And Manu Bennett. Yes, the Manu Bennett who played Crixus, who plays Zog the Orc in the Chobot trilogy, and Slade Wilson Deathstroke in the TV show Arrow on the CW. Now, I've been a fan of Manu Bennett for a long time because of the movie The Marine, The Condemned, and 30 Days a Night. And then when he started doing Spartacus, that sealed the deal for me to watch the show. So to be able to work with Manu, it will truly be an honor. Also, the fact that I get to work with Stephen, Ellen, Barry, and Antonio as well, it will be a very, very exciting time. I am currently working on everything for those panels as we speak. It'll be fun. It'll be fun, and depending on what they're willing to talk about and what they're willing to do, I'm hoping that all the panels that I'm doing are excitable for everyone and is able to really make you, when you walk out of the panel, go, man, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed being at that panel. So I'm really hoping that you all will enjoy that. And I can't wait for SpartaCon. And then when we get closer to SpartaCon, I am planning on doing a SpartaCon preview show. And, we'll be doing that. And we'll be talking about SpartaCon for a full episode and getting everyone ready for that. And there you go. So, we're already hitting 20 minutes. It's one of those shorter episodes this time around because I don't have much to talk about. There is no guest. I just really wanted to make the announcement of SpartaCon, me being there as a panel host and as a podcaster. So you got a lot of stuff to look forward to in the future just based off SpartaCon alone. And in regards to the new podcast that's coming out soon, which is the Xperience Caps Talk, which will be my hockey-based podcast. And I'm really excited to be doing that because, like I said many, many times already in this episode, I'm a huge hockey guy. I love my hockey and love talking about it, so why not? It makes sense for me to do it because I love talking about it. And, of course, and don't forget, guys, I also have another podcast which I do with my good friends Ben Taylor and Mansa Herndon, which is MBM Wrestling. You can follow us on Twitter at MBM_wrestling, and Ben's probably going to kill me for plugging this Facebook page, but, because we've been having so many problems with Facebook and trying to connect it to Twitter, I'm going to plug it anyways. The page is called Mike Ben Mansa, or you can just try finding us at facebook.com/MikeBen.Mansa. Mike Ben will be one word and then .Mansa. The link is on our Twitter page, which is again at MBM_wrestling. So feel free to follow us. Feel free to friend us on that Facebook page. And, you know, we do a lot of, it's just all wrestling talk. WWE, TNA, ROH, more so WWE, because they had the majority of the programming. So check out MBM Wrestling. We got our first podcast up already. So check it out. Second episode's coming soon. We're going to be recording our third episode this upcoming weekend. So things to look forward to. And then you guys can always follow me on Twitter at the Lindenbaum75. You can also like me on Facebook, which is facebook.com/X75 Productions. I prefer it if you guys like the Facebook page rather than try to find me on Facebook and friend me, because I do a lot of stuff through the Facebook page, and I'd rather keep the Facebook profile private. Let that be for my friends and family. So I think this is also the first episode, and this is episode 5, where I finally plugged my own Twitter and Facebook. So funny how that works. But, you know, at the Lindenbaum75 on Twitter, facebook.com/X75 Productions. YouTube is just look up X75 Productions. Because that's where the podcast goes up on. That's where all my podcasts will go up on, except for MBM Wrestling. MBM Wrestling will go on its own YouTube page, because it has its own email address. But yeah, follow MBM. Follow me. Keep following the ride, because as time goes on, this is just going to get bigger and better. Obviously, I don't have a guest, so I don't have much more I can talk about. But next week, I do plan on having Mark Adona, who is a comic book writer and artist, on. So him and I will be talking about the comic books. We'll probably be touching better base on San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, and Baltimore Comic-Con, which are coming up soon. And do comparisons on what, you know, the difference are between a bigger convention compared to a smaller convention. So until next time, remember that this podcast is sponsored by Sparta Con, which is August 15th and 16th at Blue Crab Stadium in Waldorf, Maryland. Come see stars from the show Spartacus like Manu Bennett, Dan Fergal, Liam McIntyre, and many others from the show, including the newly announced Dustin Clare, who played Gannicus. For more information, please visit redserpents.com. Until next time, guys, keep on having fun.